This podcast is a member of the Red 5 Network. For more Red 5 Network podcasts and content creators, visit bio.link/red5.
Live from your living room or mobile device, the ESW crew gratefully covers Season 2 of Andor. Will Andor bring back Star Wars in a positive light? The ESW team will divulge, discuss, and dissect each trilogy of episodes as they drop week to week. Are you ready for some honest opinions? This show will not hold back and will not think twice about hurting your feelings. Also, we'll try to keep it real, make you laugh, and hope that you will come back for more. Welcome to ESW. We can bring you in warm or we can bring you in cold. Wait, that is the wrong show.
Keep it.
And as we get started, I didn't introduce my friends here. We're back with Mateo. Teo here.
Sagrona.
Solana Gruga. What is it?
Sagrona Tima Salome.
I was there. I was right on it. I think we said the same thing.
Nailed
and
it.
then we have Damien back in action. How are ya? What's going on, Dames?
Oh, just living the dream here. Looking at you guys. You guys are about the size of a quarter on my phone right now.
Oh, this is the best. Oh, the StreamYard interface has updated itself. I made us all circles. It just looks fantastic. So, yeah. Hey, before we get into our content today for Andor Season 2 episodes 1 through 3, let's just do a brief recap of the current live action. You might have noticed the ESW went dark for a very, very long time. Some might say, I think we covered Ahsoka, which was the last season that we actually covered. And what has come out since Andor released, by the way, September 2022. Okay, so what has come out since then? Well, we have The Mandalorian Season 3, released on March 1st, 2023. It had 8 episodes. It had a generally very positive, around 85 to 95%, 90% on major review aggregators. Mm-hmm. Synopsis: Din, Djarin, and Grogu continue their journey, with Din striving to be reinstated as a Mandalorian. They face new threats and reunite with familiar allies as they navigate the fractured Mandalorian society and the lingering remnants of the Empire. I don't remember any details from The Mandalorian. I'm going to be honest with you, Season 3. Anybody?
Wasn't there a bunch of fight scenes where he couldn't hold the Darksaber, or was that Season 2? I don't know.
Does it matter? It's broken? I don't know.
That's true. Yeah.
3. Grogu got some sweet chainmail.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
Armor.
Yeah.
There was the like, that explosion inside of Mandalore in the mines.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There was some good stuff there. And then they just piss away into the sunset.
Yes.
Eating as many frogs as possible. Ahsoka Season 1 came out August 22, 2023. It had 8 episodes. Another positive show. It sort of circled around 75 to 85% on like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff. And here is a synopsis. Following the events of The Mandalorian, former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano investigates an emerging threat to the galaxy related to Grand Admiral Thrawn's potential return. She teams up with her former apprentice Sabine Wren and the pilot Hera Syndulla to confront new adversaries and uncover a dark conspiracy. My opinion, probably one of my most favorite lore-centric shows that they've come out with. And that's because I was diving into Rebels when it first came out. So I feel a great connection to that show, especially with like the Anakin Skywalker stuff dropping in and all kinds of awesome scenes that you just never thought you were going to get. And it sounds like we're getting more in Season 2.
I don't know if you still have the the clip, but Balin is daddy. Balin is a daddy.
That brings us now, I think, Mandalorian Season 3, not our favorite. I think I remember that not being our favorite. Ahsoka, pretty good. We chatted about that.
Yeah.
And then, boy howdy, we decided as a group, I think, just from the safety of other ears, to not cover the Acolyte at all. Think of it this way. June's not so far from August, right? I would say. So there was a 10-month gap between Ahsoka. Well, I'm talking about release date, so it's probably closer than not 10 months. But Star Wars The Acolyte Season 1 releases on June 4th, 2024. 8 episodes. Overall audience rating mixed to positive, generally ranging from 60 to 75%. The shows are dropping. I don't know if you've noticed the data here. 85 to 90, 75 to 85, 60 to 75. Synopsis: set during the High Republic era, which I'm a fan of. The mystery thriller follows a former Padawan who reunites with her Jedi Master to investigate a series of shocking crimes. As they delve deeper, they confront sinister forces and dark secrets within the Jedi Order. This synopsis sounds so much better than what we saw on screen.
Yeah, if only they stuck to that, would have been amazing.
Hey, shout out to Gemini for providing all of this data to us, because I didn't write it. I just prompted, and I'm reading directly from the Gemini database.
I mean, I think the only like redeeming quality about the Acolyte was Manny Jacinto's character.
Great.
He was great.
Yeah, he was awesome.
He was phenomenal. Everything else, not so much.
Production, awesome.
Yeah.
Music, fine. Sets, great. Choreo, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like a coloring book instead of a script. And for me, it fell flat. There are people on X that will die for this show.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. And that's okay. We don't have to get it.
And they had the guy from Squid Game who was in it, who like legit just learned English.
I thought he did great. Loved this character.
I
fell flat, but loved this
character.
character.
That's what he just learned English, so there was literally no emotion behind anything that he said.
He had no soul.
There you go.
None.
There it is. Yeah, it was. Oh, and I get that it was, it's set years and years and years before too, but just killing off like every Jedi, like we didn't get a chance to really get to know a lot of those characters, and then they were just killed off, which was kind of crazy, especially like when they cast like Daphne Keene in there, and you're like, oh, you just killed her off, unless that was like hey, you want to be in Deadpool and Wolverine? We got to do the Star Wars thing for us first, and then go from there.
I forgot that Daphne Keene was in it.
Well, they do a good job of disguising her. Like she's got all kinds of makeup on and stuff in there. She looked awesome, but
Trinity was great.
It was just crazy. They just gone, and that was it. So it was, you couldn't really get invested in anyone except for Soul, and he was just kind of flat.
Yeah, and the whole twinning thing with the dual acting just was not good. It just wasn't good. It's not nothing against the actress, the actor that did it, but just bad directing, probably bad directing and plus bad writing.
Although, did you see that guy Manny? He actually got a season 2 chant at Star Wars Celebration last week.
Good for him. All 5.
They brought him out on
people.
Yeah,
5 people.
Just, I would watch a show just based on his character.
He was interesting, and his helmet was
awesome. Leave Amandla Steinberg character. Get her out of here.
Yeah. Yep. I'm down. I would be down for that. I think the general consensus is we thought this was going to be a dark show, a show of darkness. I like the idea that the Jedi aren't good at all times, but it just didn't work. Yeah. But anyways, we're not going to talk about. What we are going to talk about, what I would say a surprise show that was very entertaining. We didn't cover it. I think we could have covered it, and it would have been a lot of fun. Star Wars Skeleton Crew, December 2nd, 2024, which is not that far past June 4th, 2024. This is a back-to-back. 8 episodes, generally positive, 70 to 80%. After getting lost in space following a mysterious incident, a group of kids from a peaceful planet embarks on a perilous adventure to find their way home. They are aided by a mysterious former Jedi named Kelleran Beck. That's not true. That's false, Gemini.
Gemini led you astray.
No, Kelleran Beck. Wait a second. What's his name?
He has like 7 names.
Jod the Norwood.
Jod.
Yeah, Jod.
I love that it says Keller and Beck. Was it Keller and Beck?
No, he rescued Grogu
It's not even close.
from Order
Gemini,
66.
you son of a bitch. I'm pissed off right now. I didn't edit this. I didn't even read it. That's hilarious.
They're just trying to give Ahmed Best his flowers and wherever they can. Just
Hey,
inserting
I'm a
him in every
guy-
project.
I will tell AI, hey, this is wrong.
You're wrong.
And they're like, hey, thanks so much for fixing me. I'm like, you're welcome. By the way, that just cost $4,000 of energy for me saying you're welcome. Jod, loved his character. Knew he was a bad guy. I mean, that was clear.
Yeah.
Love the kids. Love the vibe. I really liked this show. I'll probably have to watch it again, but it was just far enough away from our main stories to make it super interesting. And then they brought in they had some X-Wings in there, right?
It was just fun.
It was fun. It was weird. It had kind of, what's that show with Jim Carrey? Truman Show. It had very Truman Show vibes to me, where like there's an overlord and everything's kind of controlled and everybody's doing their thing, everybody's scripted out, and no one knows what to do when things go sideways.
Yeah.
And I love that. It was a little rebellion kind of in there with the dad.
To me, it was just Star Wars Goonies, and there were so many Goonies parallels. And
you're not gonna like this. I've never seen Goonies, so I don't have a reference on that. All of the shut up. I don't need to see it for no reason. E.T. I got for sure.
It was like Star Wars, like Spielberg 80s Star Wars. Like it was
beautiful. It was a great show. I think it was a caring. It was a careful show. Like they did a good job with it, and there's a lot of plot armor, and that's fine. They're kids. But it's cool. It's cool. Would watch again. Wee. Would I watch it? Yes, I would. Wee, for sure. All in all, to say that brings us to Andor season 2. Release date April 22. So we're 3 days past the release date. God bless us. You're probably hearing this not on April 25th because this is going to take me a few days to edit. How about 12 episodes? How about that? How about that?
First season was 12, wasn't it?
It was 12. Yeah, it was 12. Not the format they're doing it though, right? Not the week to week, but dropping 4 mini trilogies over 4 weeks. Not a lot of people happy about this. How do you feel if 3 episodes drop?
So, quick question: between each 3, it's like a time jump, right?
Correct. So we start at 4 for BBY.
Yeah.
And then I think they're going 3, 2, 1.
I have thought like you're going to hear me go on a bunch.
Yeah, they're committing to this format.
I like it.
Agreed.
I like it a lot. I don't think it needs to like. You could have done a 4-episode miniseries and made it one long movie instead of bringing credits and like open credits.
I'm with you. I see what you're saying.
With it. I have a theory to why they're doing this.
Theatrical releases?
No.
They could.
I wonder if this, and this is why I said to Marissa, because I spew my nonsense about shows to her, and she's just like, okay, thank you for
trying to watch my TikToks. Stop talking to me.
I'm trying to watch Friends. Leave me alone.
Me TV is on.
I wonder if they formatted it this way for award contention.
Curious.
Where, like, Andor season 1 was nominated for best drama series. I think Diego Luna got nominated as well.
Yep.
I wonder if they do it this way, it then qualifies it as a mini series, which is an easier category to win.
It's interesting.
If you think about it, Andor itself, even though it's 2 seasons, should be a mini series because after this season, there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah. I've got 19 nominations across several platforms, several shows, Golden Globes, Emmys, Critics' Choice, TCA, that's an interesting theory, I'm sure. Highly regarded show. It hasn't even come out yet. It has come out, but like we were already hearing great stuff. Celebration in Japan. You were hearing people have seen it. and they're like blown away, and they get you super excited. It also is super scary to be super excited about a show after going through the nonsense of the Acolyte and the silliness of Skeleton Crew and Mando season 3 being a downer, so there's
canceling Rogue Squadron, scrapping that,
and recreating Starfighter, whatever. Casting Ryan Gosling as Tom Cruise
with Sean Levy at the helm.
Whatever. It's great. Synopsis. The second and final season will directly lead into the events of Rogue One, a Star Wars story. You know how I love a good connection, so I'm all in. I still remember seeing Rogue One in theaters and being blown away by that story. And remember, that was a movie that was rewritten because it did not screen well initially with all the characters. I think they killed them off too early, or they didn't flesh them out, if I remember correctly. And the entire middle of the movie was like rewritten. Like the end, they knew what they wanted to do at the end, and they knew how they wanted to introduce, but everything with the side characters, I think, was rewritten. Because if you remember, that was like the Ron Howard taking over Solo. That was another one that was taken over. And then prior to this, I forget who was writing Rogue One, but I think he left. Was it Garrett Edwards took it over? Gareth Edwards? Anyways, it's been a long time. Point is, it's not without its conflict, but it has quickly, in my opinion, it has quickly become probably the best of the offshoot movies. Without question.
For sure.
I mean, even better than the last trilogy.
Oh yeah.
I would put it at, like, it's all Star Wars movies. I'd probably put it at either 4 or 5.
Agreed. It's up there.
Like,
so, anyways,
like if we're going like 4A, it's between that and Sith, Revenge of the Sith.
Ooh, which is out in theaters. Definitely going to take the kiddo to see that and have her see a adult kill children. No one blinks an eye at that, right? Who cares?
And then just get real close to her and be like, "Don't you fuck this up."
I can't believe Star Wars introduced sexual assault. Meanwhile, Anakin chokes pregnant wife to ground unconscious. Who cares? Right. It's fine. It's not a big deal. It's whatever. The second season will further explore Cassian Andor. This is so fun. Andor was just a throwaway character, and he's become the best character we've ever been introduced to.
It's insane.
As he becomes a key figure in the burgeoning Rebel Alliance, that's not a word I would use in life, against the Galactic Empire. The season will cover the remaining years leading up to his mission on Scarif. If you're wondering what burgeoning means, it means beginning to grow or increase rapidly, just in case you want.
Thanks, AI.
Thanks for feeding that to the 5th grade crowd we've got going on here. So, things can calculate differently. The audience ratings can fluctuate. I think Andor's at a 95% right now on Rotten Tomatoes.
I think it started off around like 98.
Yeah.
And it tapered off a tiny bit.
I think
but
episode 3 divided a little bit. Right. We'll get into that.
Yep.
But for the most part, I'm just super excited to get into this show. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. If you're new to the show, this is how ESW breaks it down. We are going to go through Andor's episodes 1 through 3. We will sound the alarm with our top moments. We will listen to B2 Emo's sad beeps, and that's the not so great moments that happen in the show. We'll talk about the scraps, which are details that maybe you missed or we missed and someone picked up on them. We'll go into our ISB analysis, which will be our predictions for the next trilogy. This is going to be the toughest one, I think, because we really don't know how much, well, I guess we do know how much time is going to go, but we don't know how much is going to change, in that year or 6 months it has to be. Hey, we'll do a vibe check and just check in with how the show is feeling, maybe on the interwebs, maybe within ourselves, and then we'll wrap up everything. So that's how the show is going to commence today. Boys, are you ready?
I was born ready.
Okay, I love that for you. So
I was raised ready, not born.
HoloNet headlines. What does this mean? This is just the overall. How are we feeling after the first trilogy drops, episodes 1, 2, and 3 as a whole? We saw it from the beginning to the end. We don't even have to wait. Like we don't need feelings after episode 1. We just need feelings after the trilogy of episodes. So I'll punt it over to Dames. Dames, just give us a couple seconds of how you're feeling after the first trilogy.
So first 2 episodes was really, I mean, all 3 were great. First 2, I was like, this is awesome. This is awesome. Episode 3 got very heavy, but still, I was just kind of impressed that they would tackle a subject like that. And it was just something that's, I guess, like just anything with Andor. Like, I mean, just even going back to Rogue One, like you kill off all of the main characters.
Yeah.
So it just shows that, like, at least with this character in this corner of the galaxy, they're not afraid to tackle anything. Like, nothing's off the table. So still really well done in episode 3 as well. Just the cutscenes between the heavy stuff and then some of the more lighter stuff. Also, I need to learn how to play Claw, Cobra, whatever those guys were playing out in the woods. That was just goofy.
I think it was called. What the hell was it called? It's called Five Hands.
5 hands.
Using Rocky rules, of course.
Total submission.
Ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, really, really well done. It's a great show. And I like that we're getting them in chunks and they're doing it like that, because with like Daredevil, for example, you know, like it's just, you get like kind of sucked in and start getting into the characters and the episode, and then the episode's over. But with this, you get almost like a movie every week, which is really cool.
For sure. Throw it to Mike.
I felt the same way. Like, obviously, I love this. I love the 3 episodes. I felt the same way after the first 3 episodes of Andor season 1, where it had a similar flow to it, where episode 1 kind of came out of the gate hot with like something happening right at the beginning. And I mean, like, I feel like every show is going to do that. Like season 1 had, and then it slowed up for episode 2. And then episode 3 came in hot, similar to, like, you know, what the hell's the name of that place? Mineral.
Mineral, yeah.
And it had the battle, essentially the Battle of Mineral, and episode 3 in season 1 had that big where Andor escapes Ferrix for the first time. So, like, I feel like it had a similar format to the first 3 episodes of season 1, which I don't mind at all. Because I feel like when we talked about season 1, it was a slow burn, but it was a good burn. So I don't mind that. And like Dane said, with 3 episodes coming out at a time, like a mini movie, I have no issues with it. Because movies are you're always going to have your ebbs and flows.
For sure. And I believe they released the first 3 episodes of Andor. Season 1 all at one time, and because I remember going, like, literally had 3 years separated these moments for me, but I went, oh shoot, it's 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is going to be a struggle. It's just going to be a struggle because they're, you know, in talking about 40, 30, 40, you know, that's a movie, you know, like we're in movie mode right now, and I 1000% missed parts in episode 3. That when I watched it again, I literally was watching it for the first time, and I can't wait to talk about it because it's definitely some of my top moments for episode 3. But I agree with you in terms of the formatting, of how we get slow burn, a lot of fleshed out things, a lot of things taking their time, long shots that you feel like they should have cut away by now, but they hang on to it. Just for another moment, just another beat, you know, and it gets you thinking. It's one of the shows that really gets you thinking and emotionally connecting to a lot of different aspects. You will be shocked. You'll have to tune in and keep listening because you're going to be shocked at who I am such a fan of in this show right now. So it's gonna be great. So from episode 1 through 3 kept my attention, except for sleepiness. Sleepiness got me because I'm just an old guy now. But we rewatched it and we were great. It was awesome. It also didn't help that I stayed up late 3 nights in a row trying to get a Nintendo Switch 2, and I failed miserably 1:35 in the morning, didn't get anything, and then had to go to work. So it stinks. It is what it is, but that's just privilege, and that's okay. Now, we move on, friends, thank you for your opinions, to sounding the alarm. Episode 1, titled 1 Year Later, 4 BBY. Pop quiz, Damien, what does BBY stand for?
That's how Best Buy is publicly traded.
That is
in
true.
New York stock market.
That is true. That is true. It's not the correct answer in Star Wars lore.
I thought it was Big Beautiful Yabos.
Before Baby Yoda.
Very good. Very good.
I will be completely honest. I do not know what BBY actually.
I love
is.
that. I love that. We're gonna Mikey.
Before Battle of Yavin.
That is correct. It is before the Battle of Yavin, and as we know, that is.
And now we eliminate Damien from the circle.
That is. We'll see you later, buddy. That was a test, and this was Squid Games, and you did not survive the test. But you did recover very nicely by giving us several acronyms in a succession, which was great. We got 1 year later, 4 BBY. We're going to talk about our top moments. Some of the top moments, well, first off, the formatting of the show follows 4 different storylines, all intermixed together in a food processor. And like a psychopath, I created a table and kept track of the details in each column of the Andor storyline, the Mineral, the Chandrila, and the Malthine Divide scenes. Dame, we're going to start with you.
So I like the levity that this brought in the first grouping or trilogy of episodes, and it was the Dedra, Cyril, mother coming over to dinner. I think it was just very relatable. I thought that it was hilarious. At first he's talking like, we could always put this off, or we don't have to do this, and you're like, well, what's going on? Is Krennic coming over? What's happening? And then his mom's there, and it's just they're like a weird power couple in the Star Wars universe, and it's just something that doesn't seem like it should work, but seems like it's gonna work, and it's probably just gonna get weirder and stronger and stranger as we go on through season 2 here. But that was one of my tops. I really like that a lot. And then I just want to give a shout out to
add on to that, because it was also one of my tops for sure. It actually may be the top of the trilogy for me, because I didn't catch it the first, but this is one of those things where I slept. I literally missed the entire dinner scene and woke up at like the wedding. So in episode 2, when we're introduced to Cyril, who's like literally the guy who hired himself in Andor season 1, I was like, cool, he's doing his thing. I don't know why, I just didn't expect them to be together after Andor season 1. I just thought they, I know they shared that moment, but I always thought it was like adrenaline moment, and they sort of would separate. But now they're like.
Didn't you see Speed with Keanu and
Sandra Bullock?
Sandra Bullock.
Why do I know these names before you? That's sad for you.
That is sad for me. But like, that's how they got together.
That's fair. I don't remember Speed, except they were.
And then they break up in the sequel. So maybe in the next trilogy they're broken up, and Cyril's a sad Cyril-eating person again.
So I love Cyril coming in. Forgot about it, Cyril. I love Cyril coming in with his reusable bag, these little groceries, and Dedra's there, and like immediately they were like, "Do you want to delay?" And I'm like, "Oh shoot, she's gonna meet his mom." Like that's like where my brain went right away. So now I'm like giddy. I'm like, yes, I can't wait to see this interaction. So now we get the interaction. She rang the doorbell 4 times. Did you count it? 4 times. We didn't even get a chance to answer, and they're both looking at each other, and no one knows what to expect. He knows what to expect. And just she is killing him the whole time, and Dedra is just waiting for a moment. And then you get sad Cyril, which is probably
So
I
memeable.
laughed so hard at this scene that I paused it and took a screenshot for this moment in top moments of the whole trilogy, because that's what the plan was the whole time, to do the whole trilogy. And I laughed so hard at that because he's just a sad boy. He's so delicate. And then we get Dedra coming to the defense of Cyril. And Edie is blown back. And I love, you probably don't want to mention Uncle, what's his name? Harlow, because I looked into his criminal file. What? She's done. She got chumped, checkmate, loved it, lambasted,
We'll call you once a week. Shut up.
slam dunk, Edie ice cream melted, goodbye. It was great. Loved it. Dane, back to you.
Yeah, it's just, it was, I think everyone in their lives at some point has had some sort of awkward dinner with somebody, coworker, family member, romantic partner, whatever, where it's like that and it's just tense and you just want to get through it and you want it to be over with. So I think that to me is why I related to it so much, because it was just like, I've been there and it was just brutal. And then how long was Cyril like in bed for? Because like he could clearly, like he was like 20 feet away. Like he should have been able to hear the conversation. Like, but then he looked like he took a full-on nap and then just like rolled out of bed and came back in. And
maybe he took a gummy before the.
Maybe he did. and not for nothing too. Their apartment is very, very swanky. It's very, very fancy.
It's an imperial facility. What are you talking about?
It's fancy.
There is no
It's home,
crumbs.
as Dedra said. I
Oh,
want
we
it.
live in a palace.
It's home.
Oh my god! All right. Any other top moments, Dames?
Yeah. How about Mon Mothma just getting her groove on and just? I think as much as obviously the show's called Andor, but I do think it's almost just as much about her too, and just seeing her throughout the entire wedding, and then her daughter's gone, her husband, and she's just dancing and getting hammered, and it's kind of almost like her symbolically like letting go of all that stuff and moving into the rebellion. And it was, I thought, especially given what else was going on in the episode at that time, thought that was like a nice little break from the heavy stuff that was going on there. So Mon Mothma is, at first I was like, all right, why is she in? I didn't care too much, and then that happened, and I've just become a little bit more invested in her, and she was a lot of fun. And that music DJ floating speaker thing was
DJ Roomba.
cranking
Any
out
Parks
the
and Rec
tunes.
fans?
So
DJ Roomba.
I
Also,
wrote.
Sloppy Mon, kind of into it.
Yeah.
Listen, I wrote down Mon hanging out with Little John. I also wrote the happiness of wedding and the intensity of everything else is super chaotic.
Yeah.
Subtitles place the Roomba droid as playing Niamos themed music, which is lovely.
Which
I
was
just-
actually one of my. I'll get to that. 'cause
Scrappies.
We have no
Your scraps.
We have no format. Who are we kidding?
We've got a format. We just
We
just
don't
break
follow
the
it.
boundaries. We erase and redraw the boundaries. I think all the
it
Mon
was this-
stuff was great.
Yeah. The DJ Roomba was also playing the same thing from season 1.
Correct.
The Niamos.
Correct.
Which I thought, for some reason, I thought it was Namos. Or is it Niamos? I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they said in season 1 Namos.
Yeah.
When that's when after One Way Out, that's where they said they wanted to get to.
Yeah, for sure. I found the Chandrillin stuff to be probably the most interesting of the 4 storylines we got. Just because of the time and care of building that environment, the 2-minute long shot, all of the conniving and the political banter and like the bullshit you got to go through with family and friends and running a wedding and doing all that stuff. Plus, loose lips sink ships, as they would say. and that's no good for Tay. Not Mateo, but Tay. And you know who I really loved? Perrin.
His speech was amazing.
Amazing.
One note I put was like, Perrin likable?
Very. Very. Reach past the constant cloud of sadness. Loved it. Loved everything about it. It was really cool. The different traditions, like they had to build a culture and make us believe it in under 80 minutes. And I believe everything they did. And they achieved really, really greatness within that. So
yeah, the Changeling stuff was great.
Yeah, for sure.
So top for me is more of an important, not like I love this scene, more of an important scene. The big stuff. The way I put it is like I'm actually not happy, but like I am impressed that Star Wars did this, because as I was saying, like Marissa will watch it with me, like not necessarily like watch it, but like it'll be on in the background and she'll like look up every now and then. But like I never expected to hear the word rape in Star Wars lore. And I think they did that scene extremely well, because it is important, because yes, this is a very important topic to cover. It's absolutely like this is happening, and like the way Bix fought off Kroll, that bag of shit, was fantastic. But also to show like in an empire, in a like not civilization, but in an organization that they're ruthless. You would have to expect stuff like this would be going on. And I think it's great that Star Wars had the balls to show something like this. And like that's why I love like Andor was so dark and so real. And like I said, it like really shows the ruthlessness of them and how scumbaggy they are. And even like I was thinking with this, with like the whole conversation with Mon and Luthen about like, you know, the number. Like, he's obviously just saying, have sex with Tay. That's what he wants.
Oh, I interpreted that way differently. We got to take him out.
I interpreted it as he wants.
Wow.
Especially after Perrin was like, "Oh, your boyfriend, your lover."
Yeah.
So when Perrin said that the way I interpreted it as was, you see both sides of that situation.
Yeah.
Which like Star Wars, like I am shocked that Star Wars went in this direction with these. Like to me, like I could be wrong in that assumption about Mon, but in my interpretation, I am shocked that Star Wars went in this direction. But I feel like it also needed to be done.
Yeah, this is there. I mean, the counter argument is this is no place to be had in Star Wars. Star Wars is supposed to be escapism. Star Wars is supposed to be family friendly. Grow up.
Yeah.
These are the realities of war. Okay. Have you ever seen The Patriot?
Yeah.
Brutal depiction of the revolution.
Yes.
Like, brutal.
Absolutely.
And it really didn't have any war in it. It was all the machinations that happened behind the scenes and the terror you feel. And we will never feel. We've never felt that terror. No. It will, we're just not in a world that we can't relate to it. We can't relate to a planet being blown up. Mm-hmm. We can't relate to a Gorman society.
Yeah.
A planned death of the planet. Like, it's just so far-fetched. And then this hits very close to our reality. And, I think what you're trying to say is like, you just go, Wow. I literally wrote, he tried to rape me is an all-time line.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it.
No.
And I audibly said, whoa, they certainly did that.
I applaud for Star Wars for
applaud
like,
it, yeah.
keeping it real.
They kept it real. It was just raw. It was emotional. It was it was crazy. I was just saying, this is crazy. It's creepy. It's everything you're warned about as trying to be a fine gentleman.
Yeah.
And then you get like the news stories of creeps, and you're like, that guy's a creep. This guy's been doing it for a while. You can tell.
Especially that whole like the intro scene, like, oh, the stress, my shoulders hurt.
Oh,
it
man.
looks like you have strong hands. I'm like,
oh,
fuck this dude.
holy.
Dude, when she whacked him, I was like, yes, like, dang.
Yeah.
And then he just killed himself, basically. He just stumbled out and, like, fell, snapped his neck. I was like, perfect. Couldn't have happened to, like, a nicer person.
Yeah, it was the whole scene. Again, back to my point of, like, they lingered on scenes for a while. Yeah, they let this breathe. And there was intention here. And, you know, I think it got its point across. Yeah, everybody forgets that Darth Vader, like, broke and snapped a kid's neck in Kenobi. No one cared. What are we talking about?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Because he's a fictional character? Anyways, that's how I feel about it. So I think we're all... I mean, was anybody offended by it?
Not offended, no. I just to jump, kind of, it was a top, but I was considering it being a top, but I did put it at the bottom, like as a bottom, but I appreciate that they went there and they tackled this. And
Understood.
like you said, it's real life. Like it's, you know, it's something crazy that I never thought I would hear that word in Star Wars ever, or see something like that in Star Wars ever, but it's war times and stuff like that happens. It's legit. And, it, you know, it was just crazy to see it. And I think that they handled it and like perfectly. I thought they did really well with it.
I bet a disclaimer is coming.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And I can see where people would be offended by this. I can absolutely see if someone was assaulted, if this has happened to someone, they wouldn't want to see something like this on something that they love. I understand that, but I'm not even going to throw a but. It's like I do understand where people are coming from.
People will fall on one side. There's no neutral, you know, and that's just what it is. You know, it's sad that it's a reality.
Exactly.
It's a weird fantasy because again, if you've never experienced it, you only can be empathetic, but you'll never know. You can't. It's like I'm sorry for your loss. Well, if you've never had anybody die, then you're not really sorry because you don't know it.
Yeah, I can't put myself in someone who has been assaulted.
You can't even try, and that's the thing.
Yeah,
crazy stuff. Heavy stuff, and that's a theme of Andor. It's heavier than the normal show. It's not Skeleton Crew. It's not Kelleran Beck saving children. It's a damn heavy show that has real consequences to people's actions, and that's just the way it is. If I may give you a top, speaking of real consequences, is Brasso the ultimate good guy? Because it's him, in his last-ditched effort, basically covers for the farmer who's been helping them, who's definitely rebel forward.
Yeah.
Falls on that side of the fence for sure, but makes sure that the Empire leaves them alone. Yeah. You know, in a last-ditch effort. Who knew a stormtrooper could hit somebody from that distance? I thought he escaped. I was very shocked by this.
Same.
That was a bottom for me because I just really like the character.
That's fair.
I also like that he looks like Jason Kelsey and Jordan Mailata had a baby.
It's a top
that grew up to be a man.
Because there's no plot armor baby. I mean, we know Andor's gonna live, but you know, we get to know Brasso's new life and Talia and you know everything about that, and it's great. and they're doing the best they can. And the immigration stuff is just, again, somehow politically topical immediately now.
Yep.
And it, again, I don't know how that feels, but it feels accurate the way they're depicting it. And then you just get a guy who, you know, it's really Will's fault that Barassu's dead.
Yeah.
And he's got to live with that.
Mm-hmm.
And Bix is traumatized again. And at the end of the episode, Andor seems very traumatized by this development in the story. Again, going to inform...
Who just lost his mother a year before.
Right, exactly. He's one by one, his family is, you know, being cut down. And it's real. It's real, and it hurts. And that's a good thing to feel that emotion.
Same thing, episode 3, The Harvest. I feel like a lot of shows are doing this now, and it works well. The back and forth between like the intensity on Mina Rao,
yeah,
and the wedding in Chandrila.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not the Daredevil fight scene, like double fight scene where it kept going back and forth between Murdoch and Fisk, which was just a phenomenal scene. But it really, to me, it gave an interesting perspective of like when something goes wrong at the front lines of a rebellion versus when something went wrong on like the high tower side of a rebellion, where like the front line is my best friend dies, the high tower is this guy wants money or sex and let me get drunk at a wedding because I have all this money. And it real, like, I thought it was really important to show, like, also on, you know, the Mineral side, the scenes from inside of the TIE fighter, the like video game, like it reminded me of when we used to play Squadrons and I sucked ass. And but like it, like, see, like just the controls and seeing like everything light up like a video game was awesome. Yeah. But back to the back and forth, like I thought it was really important to show both sides of the rebellion, like happening at the same time, where like the high tower is enjoying this lavish party and something went wrong, let me get hammered. And then, like I said, the front lines where Andor comes in on a stolen TIE fighter where a drop went wrong and he needed to escape, and then I have to save my friends except for one.
It's again the I don't want to say parallels, but the rags to riches. You know, the you know, these guys are just getting by. And you got a 3-day wedding ceremony. We got a 25. We got a thing, an artifact that was lost and created 25,000 years ago. Crazy piece of history. Good stuff so far. Good stuff, boys. This is awesome. We finished our top moments of the trilogy, and now let's roll into some of our sadder moments. And by sad, we're just talking about things that we don't like.
I don't want to be alone. I want Mama Marva.
And not everything is perfect in the show. A concern, well, it's not a concern. I just say I wasn't interested in it. Anything and everything that happened on the unknown planet was crap for me, except for like the fun dialogue in between these characters. I just couldn't wait to get past anything that was happening between the two rebel cells that have no leader, that have no idea what they're doing. Except it felt like comic relief in comparison to everything else. But for me, it was the weakest storyline out of the 4. From the Imperial planning to the Chandrila to the Mina Rao. Again, Chandrila probably top, Mina Rao, and then the Imperial stuff. But not a fan of it. But I can tell you some things that I did like was just wacky thing, like the 5-hand stuff. Like just like what is going on? This is so weird. But they all like I'd hang out with these guys. I probably hang out with these guys. They seem fun. And but if you're comparing the 3, definitely bottom 25% for me. Not that it's not interesting. It's just, it was just okay. It was fine, but it wasn't, in comparison's sake, the best that the episodes could offer. Thank God it was only 2 episodes long.
I couldn't deal with them anymore.
Yeah, it was a little too long. We're also stupid.
It was the bottom for me too, because it felt like just filler. Like, you knew Cassian was going to get away.
Right.
And it was just like, all right, well, we just had to keep him busy here for a little bit while these other storylines develop to set up the season. And, you know, I don't mind the 5 hands. Maybe some people will be playing that next week in Chamonix Creek for May the 4th. We'll see.
Yeah.
But they were goofy. It was comic relief, but it just didn't fit.
It felt like Andor was benched.
Yeah.
In his own show.
They were just like, well, we got to put you here for a little bit and we'll figure something out. Like,
I think I would have preferred him to like radicalize this group and joining the rebellion. That would have been an interesting angle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, hey, our ship crashed. We accidentally killed your guy because he was threatening us, but we don't know what to do now.
Either that, or I would have liked to see more of him in the inner workings of getting the TIE fighter. Just stretch that out a little bit more, because that was just interesting to me.
Yeah, like how to get
to see how he got there.
Yeah,
and you know, just like maybe draw that out a little bit more. Maybe see some more range troopers, which was fun to see. But yeah, it was just filler. It was okay for what it was, but you know, when you think of Andor, you think of like the heavy hitting stuff, and it just kind of seemed a little out of place for it.
Yeah, for sure. I agreed.
Yeah, I have like one long bottom, long bottom.
Neville
Long bottom. I have one long Neville long bottom. I have one Neville long bottom.
Oh my god, that's funny.
So same. The whole Maya Pay Brigade.
I did like where he was like, "How do you know that?" And then he's like, "Well, what are you part of?" And he's like, "I'm not gonna tell you that. You should be more careful." There were some good lines. The dialogue was really good. The conversations were good,
but like I will bring something up later in predictions with it where I think they may have messed up. So the Neville Longbottom is just silliness.
Yeah, it felt silly. I agree. It felt silly the whole time.
Silliness does not fit in Andor at all, and in the show at all. And it was the downfall. It was the downfall of season 3 of Mandalorian. It got too silly. And like I counted 7 things that I just thought were ridiculous and silly.
Did you list them?
I did list them.
Oh, here we go.
Now, like none of them. I don't think any of them were in episode 3. There was nothing in episode 3 that was silly.
No, it was. Well, they weren't in episode 3 at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Perfect.
So, and it's not even like there were some that wasn't even the Maya Pay Brigade. Number 1, Mina in the beginning, she said you're cute. Get the fuck out of here with that.
Wait, this isn't just. This is all the Andor storyline.
This is
okay.
Episodes 1 and 2 of silliness. Then he gets into the TIE fighter and the old gag of he hits forward and it goes backwards. Oh my god.
I hated that part too.
Then the other TIE fighter thing where I'm hitting the trigger and nothing's coming out, and then I hit another button and whoa, an explosion.
Can I add a third TIE fighter when he's wiring up the camera and it just goes haywire in space?
Oh, that's in there. That's in there.
I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna do it next. So apparently you don't like machines. It's okay. We understand.
I hate silly machines. And then he's like, I've been upside down for 2 days.
Wait, what are you talking about?
When he finally gets in touch with
what's her name? I've been calling her Radio Lady. I have no idea what her
Kayla?
Sure.
Or Clea? It's either Kayla or Clea.
Leo?
Kalea?
Ooh, we're getting closer. I feel like we're getting closer.
I think we're in that
Yeah.
Kalea.
Do you think he was actually upside down?
He was not upside down.
Okay, but he was a little being dramatic. Okay.
Yeah. Then when he finally lands on that planet, we've got 15 blasters pointed at you. He's not supposed to know that. Don't tell him.
All right, can I tell you what I loved? One line I did love. Is there any food in there? They throw him out.
You got that one's in here. That was number 6.
No, it's not silly. It's great.
The Gorman tourism video just
Oh
fell
man,
off.
that was the best Disney Q line video you've ever seen. What are you talking about?
And then 5 hands, Roski style. I was like, oh, they're gonna fight. Nope, they're gonna play rock, paper, scissors.
I agree with your assessment.
It's just the silliness does not. And where's Porco? And why he was mentioned on Chandrila and never heard from. Like, I'm like, oh, this guy must be important.
Well, he's dead.
Yeah, but like, you would expect like someone. Oh, there's the drop. Porco. His name was mentioned so many times that he doesn't. There's no face to him.
Oh my god.
The beasts got him, or they killed him. Who knows?
I can't believe you didn't add in them trying to move a 10,000-pound ship with string.
You know what? At least they tried something.
That's true. That was probably. I actually thought it was really clever. Like, yeah, we're gonna point this giant gun at you, and then they're doing the math. 5 centimeters. Oh, by the way, Star Wars officially metric system.
Yes.
We lost Dames. He'll come back.
Yeah. Star Wars is officially metric, which don't hate. Love the metric system.
Fair. Everything. Oh my god, it was so bad. It was really bad. Everything about it was bad.
Yeah. And that like I said, I think that was the downfall of season 3 of Mandalorian, was that like it got too Grogu silly. And with like when you're handling topics like rape an episode later, like it just doesn't fit.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with that. Like you go front, you're right. It definitely felt right turnish like severe roller coaster G-force to the right, where we're like, whoa, all right, I guess, woo, wasn't ready for that, but here we are, I guess. So that's super.
We were just playing 5 hands Roski style,
right.
And now you're gonna talk about rape.
Holy moly, that was for sure very 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 heavy. Let me see if I'm looking for any other bottoms that I feel. Not really. I liked everything else for sure, but I definitely agree with your assessment. So that's good stuff. Thank you for the list. We have scoured the tops. We've served you the bottoms. But where are the scraps, right? The scraps are those little noticements. There's little pieces of information that you might not have noticed, but we noticed. So I've got a few that are interesting, and some are funny, and some are a little bit out there. Coming in episode 1, of course, you know what? I'm going to do some little weirder ones. There's definitely a thirsty joke thrown in here. Will and Bila. And Bix is razzing him up for like this relationship. Yeah. Right? And she comes over and Bix is like, oh, he's super thirsty. And it was definitely a pun. Like they wrote it in there for him being a pun, and he was just so funny with it. Like, don't be weird, just be normal around this. It was great. I love that. That was awesome. We saw some TIE fighters from Revenge of the Sith, right? So they have a little bit of a curved wing instead of the straight wing. So that was cool. I'll give one more, and then I'll throw it over to Mike. We see a mention Erskine, who is half Gorman, and half Nabooan, but brought up on Chandrila. He's a weird character that I feel like is going to be important a little bit further down the line. Yeah,
like they've mentioned this name twice now, and this is going to be a thing for
sure. Agreed.
I definitely thought I almost called him Eskin.
Yeah.
Erskine. It's gonna be important. Did you notice the Ferrex gong at the beginning?
Missed that. Oh, like the sounder, like the audio. Yeah, got that.
I love the Ferrex gong. I was like, oh, we're back on Ferrex? What's happening? And then, we were in, I forget the name of that spot where we was the test pilot. Speaking of test pilot, the password, Kafrene.
Kafrene, yep. That was cool. With the ring green, right? Is where he starts.
His start, yeah.
Yeah, love that. Softball. They call that a softball, I think, right?
Yeah. The Chandrillin braid, similar to a Padawan braid.
Got that too, you son of a bitch. Good job by you. Very good. Cuts hair like a Padawan, highlighted.
Yeah.
Really liked. Listen, everything about the ceremony, super weird, super culty.
Yep, I wrote super culty.
I feel this way at Easter Mass. I don't really go to Mass. Consider myself a Catholic because of my moral compass. But every time I go to Mass and there's a mass of people and they're all chanting at the same time, I'm going, this is just a cult. This is all this is. And this was over the top, sort of. I mean, they were speaking a different language, right? They were speaking the language of Chandrila, which was, again, they had to make that up, by the way, the showrunners, which is super.
And they love circles.
Love circles.
Everything's
circles everywhere. The droid was even a circle.
Yeah. Sphere.
Hold on 1 second. You're right. Now we gotta wait. We might have to rewatch and count how many circles we can find.
So, like, the ceremony, they were in a circle.
Yeah.
Join my circle.
Yeah.
The parents walked around in a circle.
Yeah. Parents stand on a dais that was circle shaped.
Yes, he did. They're dancing just in concentric circles.
Yeah. The archways, I believe, were circles when Mon was walking around. This is a big circle jerk.
Yeah. Bunch of circle jerks. They are the Chandrillans. We're in circles right now.
We are in circles, unintentional circles, but was it unintentional? No one else is a circle? Cyril's dead a little bit.
It's a semicircle.
It's a semicircle for sure. The fondue pot was also a circle.
What the giant like Chandrillin piece wasn't there like a circle at the like face or something? I don't remember.
Yeah.
They love them. The Chandrillins love them some circles.
They sure do. So some of Damien's scraps, range troopers, he mentioned those. Cassian's escape was like pose, lame controlling issues and all. And Krennic dropping the unlimited power line.
Yeah.
Like that. I did not have that in my thing.
Also, the Leda's poor husband only had like one line in the entire,
poor guy.
And it was in Chandrillin.
Yeah, and you know what? The one line speaks to Perrin and Skolden having their little dad chat, which I appreciate. And he just says, I think Skolden says, "Learn or be led."
Yeah.
I love that. He doesn't care. You know, he just married into a rich family. What are you talking about? It's awesome. The subtitles. All right, so this is on unknown planet. And the boat, but remember when they sent out the little scouts? I guess they're looking for the dead body, which was eaten, by the way. I don't know if you picked up on that.
Yeah.
But she finds the boot, and then she gets fired upon, and like it's very loud. But do you know what she yells? Did you write it down? It's a Huttese curse, right? And she says, "Ichuta."
Yes, I do. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, Ichuta."
And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's cool. That's a cool little thing." I also have on Mina Rao, loved their little communal Thanksgiving that they had. I thought that was a really cool little scene. I guess they're celebrating the end of the harvest. I guess that would be, or maybe that was a normal thing for the Toolies and the locals. I don't know. It felt pretty cool. It was nice. I would like to be a mom.
And
somebody mentioned
messing with the kids.
Yeah, and right, I love that. That was a great part. Oh no, they are coming to get me.
And see that's like, there's a difference between the silliness of
Correct.
like, of the whole Maya Pei gang, and like the silliness of a heartfelt silliness of like a family gathering.
Correct.
There's no that like that fit because it was a heartfelt moment, it was a lighter moment in the show.
Agreed.
But the other, it just felt like a bad arguing skit.
Agreed. There's a mention of, hey, you got any pesos? Imperials want some pesos. And if you remember, the last time we heard that, it was the lady that Andor was banging, and he's going out to the store, and she's like, get me the pesos, get me the green ones, the wellies, or whatever they were called. But I just thought, I was like, oh man, I recognize that immediately. Again, not important, but scraps.
Another calf for coffee.
Another calf for coffee, for sure. I got two more. Obviously, we all know that's Yavin 4, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. We know that's Yavin 4. That's again
Yeah.
a cool little reference. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure he will say, "I know a place where we can go." Mm-hmm. It's covered by a big red planet. They'll never find us. And then the only other two things I had was Gertie and Barty, right? Who are the leaders of both clans. Yeah. You have Slim Thor and Five Below Kylo Ren. That's all I got. That's all I could see when I was watching them.
Was there like a Mika or something, or Nika?
Yeah, Gertie just looked like a Slim Thor. Yeah. And Barty he ate the melon. Gross. Oh gosh. Ugh.
Like absolutely. A Dorian. Do you ever have a Dorian?
No.
It's like illegal to like sell in the United States now. Apparently, it smells like hot garbage, but it tastes like this like weird vanilla custard.
No thanks, I guess. We're still working on dames.
You know me, I love a good long shot. That like it should be a top, but like I always like to notice long shots.
Yeah.
When Mon was first introduced, that long shot of just walking through her.
It also speaks to the set.
Yeah. Oh,
this is not the volume at all. This is real stuff, and Tony Gilroy and gang really did a good job. They did a bang up job.
Yeah, they did.
Doing their thing. So, hey, we scraped the plate clean of the scraps, and as we getting close to the end of the show, we have interesting developments. Definitely a beginning, a middle, and an end to this trilogy. Mm-hmm. So, how does one predict what's going to happen? So we have to actually access the ISB data center to do some analysis. So what happens next, right? Bix and Andor and Will, they get away. No, they escape. I won't even say they get away. They just escape. Do we go a full year from this time? I don't know. What new characters? Will we get new characters each time? Do we start getting familiar characters? When does Bail, or I know there's like a rumor and a spoiler that I think was it Bail Organa was recast. It's supposed to be Jimmy, what's his face? But it sounds like it sounds like he's going to be recast. I don't know if that's true or not. It is what it is. You know how I feel about spoilers on X. Don't be on social media if you don't want to get spoiled. It is what it is. So I kind of read it and I was like, it would be a shame if that happened, but it is what it is. Do we get Leia? Do we get people from Andor's company starting to come in? Do we get a little bit of Jeddah? You know what I mean? Like, how are they going to have to start weaving this stuff in at some point?
Yeah. Now,
Saul Guerrero?
Saul's absolutely
sure he's coming. Maybe this next one? Maybe?
In Urso? Soon.
So, okay, so let's
or a young.
Let's do some math, right? Yeah. So she's 19 in Rogue One. So we got a -4. So she's going to be 14, 15. Would they recast her? Felicity Jones. If I'm telling you right now, if Felicity Jones is not in this show in the final 3 episodes, it is a colossal mistake.
Agreed.
She has to make an appearance. I don't know how she would make an appearance. I don't know that she would.
come on, de-aging CGI. It wouldn't
Well,
have to
that's
be
true. Yeah,
too much.
I'm just thinking like, all right. So I read. I probably mentioned this. There's a Jyn Erso book that shows what she was doing from hole in ground and Saul gets her to when we meet her in Rogue One. And Saul trains her, so she's basically with Saul. Do we see young female character in background training with the sticks? Is that enough? Is that satisfying enough? I don't know. It could be. I would notice it. You might not notice it unless I told you and be like, I think that's Jyn Erso,
Yeah.
It would be cool, but like, do we get a Felicity Jones? I mean, again, she's kind of on the run, right? She gets captured in the beginning of Rogue One. Who knows what she's doing?
Yeah.
So whatever. But do we get more Krennic? Do we get some Death Star? I mean, Death Star is right. It's 100% being constructed, right? It is in its process because the first one took 20 years. I think 20 years to actually make. So they're in year 16, something like that. It wasn't completed until Rogue One.
Does Cinta off Tay?
Do we see it, or do we open up with like Mon looking at his funeral card?
Yeah.
Oh man, oh, baby, his hollow funeral card, like in Harry Potter. That is crazy. Luthen. Do we get? Like, I guess I'm gonna assume. All right, so I feel like Gorman is going to be in full effect, right? Because we're going to
I think
into that.
Legend. That's what unified all, like, the rebellion, the massacre at Gorman, right? The Legends, Star Wars Legends, the massacre at Gorman. That's what unified all these like minor rebel units, these Maya Pei brigades, right? So how far before, like, I'm wondering if, like, the second set is leading up to the Gorman massacre, where episode 3 is the massacre at Gorman.
Yeah. Okay.
The third
trilogy, the next trilogy is going to be focused.
Yeah.
On Gorman and how maybe it's like nobody's really synchronized just yet.
Yeah.
Everybody's kind of doing their own thing, but everybody hears about this.
Yeah. Everybody hears about it. And then episodes 7 through 9 are the rebellion kind of uniting. All the rebels kind of uniting. Yeah. Which is why I bring the Maya... Yeah, except for Saul. Which is why I bring the Maya Pei brigade back into this.
Think you get those people back?
No, they got destroyed by that thing. That beast thing.
Oh, you think so?
Well, I know the Gertie and the other dude did.
I was just so happy for those scenes to be over. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't notice anything of that.
But like, I think that if they're doing this Gorman massacre, I think they dropped a major ball with this Maya Pei brigade, where it's like, yeah, they're all, dumb, whatever. They're these dumb idiots that just fight all the time. But then after the Gorman massacre, you bring them back as a unified front kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think.
I mean, they're still not even in agreement in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Which is super interesting because that's the most organized they've been.
Yeah, I think 4 through 6 is going to be leading up to the Gorman massacre.
You're gonna have a lot of Dedra action. Dedra and Krennic.
So yeah. And it's interesting because it would if it went in that direction, it would kind of go in the same direction as the original trilogy, where episode 4, they're victorious and kind of get away, but the Empire's still going on. Episode 2, they essentially lose.
Yeah.
And then who knows what episodes 7 through 9 and
super
10
interesting.
through 12. But I think 4 through 6 is going to cover the Gorman massacre.
I would tend to agree with you. Predictions for ISB analysis according to Dames, of course. In addition to Saul Guerrera, and possibly Bail Organa, he predicts Dengar will show up as per usual in this show. But in reality, he does think Bix will not survive the second trilogy. Maybe each. Well, you know what? If we're doing patterns here,
One friend per trilogy.
yeah, maybe Will doesn't survive. I think Bix makes it. You know,
I think Bix is going to be one of the last.
Yeah,
because that's going to be one of the most heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough for sure.
Cast.
That is, yeah. I agree. Lots of possibilities. With, of course, like, we know where it's going.
Yeah.
But for the first time, and I feel this way, I'm really interested in seeing the journey of how we're going to get there. You know,
and we talked about this the last time we talked about, 3 years ago when we talked about season 1. It's so hard to do a show like this when you know the end game.
Yeah.
And they're absolutely crushing it.
Yeah, I agree. Good stuff on the analysis. As we finish up our episode, of course, let's turn up the music and get a little vibe check going on with the episode, the trilogy, as they say. So here's what Dame says. Andor makes you want to run through a brick wall. I'm not sure he meant that. Marva brick? The first 3 episodes of season 2 are so good you could show them to a non-Star Wars fan and they would like them. I think episode 3 would determine whether or not they could handle the show. Again, There's been plenty of, Jesus Christ, Game of Thrones had kids committing suicide and people getting pushed out of windows. Like, how about people being tortured and being naked through the street? How about Reek? Anyways, but that's HBO. That's a little bit of a different vibe.
Yeah.
Dame wants to get drunk with Mon and fight the Empire in that order. That's awesome. Man, it felt so good to be excited about a show again. I do believe that I've been silent on the franchise for a while now, just because I think the High Republic stuff is convoluted and confusing, and I don't really feel like buying books. I think none of the shows are really breathtaking. The movies were a disaster. It doesn't matter how you feel about them. They were a disaster. Collective disaster.
Terrible.
You can't get me excited about Star Wars in movie land until you prove it and show it. Maybe Starfighter's the answer. Maybe this new Jedi Order stuff is the answer. I don't know. Andor, though, right now is the answer because it is the most interesting, well thought out, realistic show that also happens to be Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't, and to your point, I don't think The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be the answer.
I think it's going to be awful.
I think it's going to, I will, the way I feel about The Mandalorian and Grogu is the same way I felt about, like, The Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. Acolyte, I felt like it was homework where I had to watch it. Yeah. I didn't want to watch it. I had to watch it.
Yeah, right.
Skeleton Crew, I started off with I had to watch it, homework, but enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And like you said, Andor is the one that I finally, like, I want to watch.
Oh, man, I was looking forward to the rewatch because I know I missed stuff. You know, it was just really great. One thing I can say is I am looking forward to Ahsoka season 2. And only because I hold that near and dear, as I said before.
Yeah.
I'm also interested to see. I think Ahsoka season 2 comes out before Mandalorian and Grogu, and if so, we could have Thrawn in Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yes.
Because they are starting to sort of line up like that. Again, it all leads to a disaster of a trilogy with 7, 8, and 9. Which is not as exciting. At least Rogue One is a good movie and is exciting, and we get a nice little, we get to close the book on that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. None of it matters unless it's good. And you can tell me it's coming out, but as we've stated before, production changes, directors change, writers change. They announce all these projects, and then they seemingly don't do anything with them. That's discouraging.
And I think Star Wars is starting to understand the error of their ways, where they they went Marvel style and they tried to flood the market, and we saw what happened with Marvel.
Yeah.
And now that Marvel is starting to, even though I haven't seen it, but like Captain America didn't really get great reviews.
Didn't see it. I didn't see it. I'll wait until stream.
Same. I love Daredevil.
Great.
I'm excited about Thunderbolts. I'm excited about Fantastic Four.
I won't rush to the theater.
Fantastic Four, maybe. Thunderbolts, I'll wait.
Yeah.
But also in similar, we now have a Marvel that has gone dark, like Disney gone dark, and like I think the thing that like all the Star Wars purists have to like understand is like Star Wars. I mean, we weren't born when the original ones came out, and when the prequel series came out, we were still kids.
10.
Yeah. Kids grow up into adults.
Yeah.
You could do those shows with adult themes. And I think Star Wars is starting to understand that and starting to realize that that makes a better product. Not everything has to be for the kids.
Yeah.
Not
You have to be careful.
Wu-Tang is for the kids. Do you get that reference?
Nope. No idea. Not 1 second. Not a clue. But you know what I do have a clue about? I have a clue that Rotten Tomatoes says it's at 95% right now. Most people are positive about it.
Yeah.
Some people were turned off with the rape stuff, as you should be. But I also think it's better to have that dialogue and have that brevity, not brevity, but courage to address it in a Star Wars show on Disney Plus, owned by Disney. Shocked that they got away with it, but like they kind of had to get it approved. And I think Tony Gilroy was like, well, either we have it or we walk. Your call.
Yeah.
I think we do have to get into some of the Tony Gilroy interviews. I think that could be a nice segment coming down the line. He said some interesting things. You should look that up if you haven't looked it up. But that is a topic for another day. He speaks to the writing and the production of Andor and how he hoped, it's a little preview, he hoped COVID would actually kill the product. He didn't want to do it. And now, look at where it's at. So we'll cover that in a next podcast episode. Maybe maybe it's a week 5-er. Who knows? But this concludes, my friends, ESW's return to the YouTube place, the podcast place. Who knows if I'll ever get this uploaded, but we'll try our best to get it uploaded as quick as possible. Hey,
we talked about it.
We talked about it. Do you follow Red 5? Red 5, nice collection of opinions and people over on the x.com bio.link /Red 5. Go ahead and hit that like button, the subscribe button. We're going to bring you some content for the next 4 weeks. We're looking forward to doing it. Maybe Damien will actually stay for the whole show. He's a big timer. He's big timing us right now.
He is big timing us.
You got a technical difficulty, but don't worry. The boys powered through because we're just built that way, and that is built just
different.
That's right. We're built different, and this was ESW. And now you should be more like Cyril. Go to sleep. We'll see you next time.
Cyril.